As always, we are so glad to know that you're there with us on your ultimate news and current affairs program on television, where we'll take you go through politics, issues that has to do with social occurrences in our nation. Well, we'll dive into a major discussion that is on the front burner. EDO 2024. The gubernatorial election, the primaries will be happening sometime in January. But however, we are going to be looking at what EDO indigenes in the diaspora, what role will they be playing in the build-up to the coming up election. I have with us remotely, well, these guys are joining us remotely from UK and Germany. We have Dr. Tony Osafon Agbons. He's a senior lecturer at Glenriskin University in London. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Tony Agbons.
Good morning, Dan, and thanks for inviting me.
Okay, we also have Benjamin Oyemade, mayor, who is joining us from Germany. Good morning, Benjamin. Okay, we also have Elder Gary Oturo. He's joining us from UK. He's the convener ASA Agenda Development Worldwide. He resides in United Kingdom. Thank you so much for joining us, Elder Gary. Okay, why we hope to... Are you there, Elder Gary?
Sorry, thank you very much for hosting us.
Okay, it's a pleasure to have you all on board. All right, let's quickly dive into the discussion. Let's get to Dr. Tony Agbons. Dr. Tony, we would like to get your reaction. How important is this election to Edo indigenes in the diaspora?
Yeah, very good morning to everyone over there in Edo State, Nigeria. Wahia Selugbe. Everybody, of our collective struggle and determination to make our state a better place. Thank you, Dan, for today's invitation.
It's always a pleasure.
This election 2024 in Edo State is very, very important. As far as the Edo State diaspora is concerned, it's another opportunity for us to continue in the development of our state. Is when the interest, in the governance and politics of our state, our dear Edo State. And like you will notice during the last election in Edo State in 2020, you saw the massive participation of the Edo State diaspora. As we go in the discussion, I'll be, sharing some data as far as the impact of the diaspora is Edo State, but Nigeria as a whole. So the diaspora, the Edo State diaspora, is going to play a very, very monumental role the next election before is concerned.
Okay. All right, thanks so much. We'll get back to you in a moment. Benjamin Oyemade, we saw how Edo indigenes in the diaspora pulled their weight as far as the presidential election and governorship election was this year. But however, in some quarters, some of them are saying they're actually discouraged by the outcome or the results, as it were. Won't that discourage them from participating in the upcoming election in Edo State next year?
Good morning, my fellow Edoites, those in the world and those that are here. I want to remind them that Edo diaspora.
We can barely hear you clearly from here. I think maybe you need to disconnect your device. Yes, go on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Go on.
Like I said, those in diaspora, we have always seen ourselves like that stakeholder in one gubernatorial elections are fair in Nigeria.
Well, I think you need to probably disconnect your device and just use it directly. That will help us in the conversation. Mr. Benjamin, you need to probably disconnect your device.
Let me try.
Okay, we'll get back to Mr. Benjamin in a moment. Let's quickly get to Elder Gary, who's also joining remotely from UK.
Is that around?
We'll get back to you in a moment, Oyemade, but just try help us disconnect or see how to check your connection again. We'll get back to you in a moment, please. Okay, Elder Gary, let's quickly have your thought. How do indigenes in the diaspora perceive the role? What role will they be playing in the election, as it were?
I want to use this opportunity to thank you once again for inviting me here, and I also want to greet our people back home. I greet Metu Areveni Wow, Baba Aisa, Babion. So I want to use the opportunity to thank the aspirant. We are very happy to see a lot of people coming in to try to participate, just like the professor have just said. And what we see here is that, just like as you earlier said, a lot of us here don't really have faith in the election based on what happened before during 2023 presidential election, because they believe their vote will not count, because they put their effort to see that counts. But at the end, majority of us were very disappointed. But nevertheless, I don't know the carry last. That's how we always say. So we will all do whatever I can that we were able to elect the right person in a EDO election, because we really need someone that have the fear of God in his or her heart. Because for us, we believe we always play our part, that the right person is elected, because it's very important, because if we don't get it right now, it will be more difficult time to come. We person like me, I believe equal rights. I believe justice and fairness. I believe it's time for our brothers in both sides. We are the same family. I believe it's time for them to also kind of look at us and say, okay, we are families. It's time for Edo Central to produce the next governor of Edo State. So this is the area most of us, because I believe on that note, a lot of people would be happy if all the three political parties want to nominate their candidate from the Edo Central. So for me personally, I know our two brothers, they know the right thing to do, and they will always do the right thing, because Edo are known for justice and equity and fairness.
Okay.
God bless.
All right, thanks so much, Elder Guy. Let's quickly get now to Dr. Tony. Dr. Tony, from his submission, Elder Gary is of the opinion that power should rotate to Edo Central. What says you before we go ahead with this discussion?
Yeah, thank you, Dan, for that question. What Gary have said is since 1999, when this republic started, this current democratic dispensation. What would have been the opportunity for Edo Central Senatorial District to, have a governor, was cut short, when Professor Serieme Osumbo, I think he was there for just about less than a year or a little above a year. Adams Oshomole, came in after a court ruling. It's a very valid agitation by our brothers from Edo Central. But like what some of us have always said is that politics is a game of consultation and participation. And I've always said to all my ASAM brothers that just like what happened at the national level, when most of us also believe that the presidency should specifically to the southeast, because they've not produced president since we started in 1990. The same thing is playing out in Edo State. So, but the they have to really play the game very well. They have to consult, and then as much as possible to push, the best candidate, because many of us also the notion that in our capacity, capability, and not just because somebody a game in politics, of flow particular direction. So I just want to wish the Edo Central Senatorial District the best of luck. But like you said, Elder, look at it in the name of fairness, equity, and justice. Points you have raised, they are very, very valid. Nobody can argue with that.
Okay, let's get to
Thank you, Doctor.
let's quickly get to Benjamin Oyemade now. Benjamin, I don't know if you're okay now. Can we go on?
Yeah, I think I'm okay. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, perfect. Perfect. All right, Benjamin, walk us through. You were one of those who actually threw their weight behind a particular movement that actually came on board, and of course, from data available, about 60 to 70% of those behind that movement, talking about the obedient movement now, they actually came from Edo State, mostly Edo Indigenes in the diaspora. Are we going to see such movement again take place next year? Are we going to see some kind of move or a kind of wave in the next election in Edo State from Edo Indigenes in the diaspora?
Thank you. Like I said before, with the Edo Indigenes living in diaspora, we have this idea. We have a major role in Edo State as a state in general. So what you experienced last year in the general election, especially the presidential election, when 95% of Nigerians in diaspora gathered themselves and throw their weight behind a particular candidate that we all know that was competent and capable of becoming the president of Nigeria. My principal, His Excellency Peter Obi, is because we saw the Nigerian all over and all over his manifesto. So these are the things that gave birth to obedient movement. Edo State is obedient headquarters today all over the world, as people may describe it, and that also gives us the understanding that Edo people we vote based on capacity, competent and intelligent, and the ideas and know-how to solve the situation that is currently ravaging the entire country, Nigeria. So the same thing is going to be playing out in Edo. Dear brother Eda Gary made mention of one thing, and he said, three political parties. Edo people are not going to be based on party, especially we in diaspora, because we have had first-hand development. We have seen how development works. We have seen how development works in most of the country that we have had opportunity of residing, especially most of those politicians who also travel down here, who are unable to replicate what they have seen in diaspora. It's so pathetic. So the things we are going to be putting together to scan candidates that will be emerging from every political platform.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be PDP, it doesn't have to be APC, it doesn't have to be a Labour Party. These three political parties that you're talking about, they are not different from each other. So they have all disappointed us. So we are not going to be looking at party this time. The obedient movement is not a party. The obedient movement is a movement that Peter Obi, His Excellency Peter Obi, formed, and Nigerians gladly embraced it because he was ready to dismantle the criminal structure in Nigeria. That is what we are going to be seeing in Edo State.
Okay.
So the issue of godfatherism and all that is not going to play out.
Okay.
I understand there is reason for equity, fairness, and justice, but this time, person have to come out that we have to put our weight behind somebody that is competent.
Okay,
do the same thing and tell us the same story.
Okay,
again.
thank you so much, Mr. Benjamin. Let's link up with Dr. Tony Sagbons now in UK. Dr. Tony Sagbons, in what ways can the experiences of those abroad contribute to the next election in the state? In what ways?
Thank you, Dan. Of the Edo State diaspora, and I want to put this in context. When we are talking about diaspora, like I've always said, we are not just looking at, people who live in Europe, UK, and all the rest. We are talking of Edo State indigene who is living outside Edo State. Even if you are in Abuja, in my own definition, you are a diasporan. Even if you are in African country, Mali, Faso, Kenya, anywhere. So, and when you look at these people, they've got a lot of experience, life experience, transferable skills, and a lot that we bring to the table. So, even during this current administration that is winding up now, there was a huge clamor from us in the diaspora for the establishment of an Edo State Diaspora Agency. Personally very, very much in the thick of action for that agency to take off, but which has never really seen the light of day. So in terms of expertise, we have people with vocational skills, people with professional skills, doctors, engineers, IT specialists, every areas of human endeavor. So we've got it from Edo State, and a lot of our people, they are holding their own. Even in places as far as Japan, Australia, you find Edo people everywhere, and they are doing very, very well. So it's something that we should really be proud of, and we believe, Jamie was saying, that we will have to look at competence and the capacity and the character of the person, in this particular election. I am of the opinion that the political parties, even more than 3, they know what is up. They know that the Benin's, the Edo State people, we have a parable in Benin that said, Edo Yuma, so if I translate that, it means that the Edo State people, we have a way of, I've said it before, we have a way of navigating towards a particular candidate. So, but there are a lot of aspirants now who are moving around, talking to Edo State people. I tell you, my brother, by the time the primaries is over by January, February, you will see that the dynamics is going to navigate towards one particular person. Let me just take us back a little bit before I round up this particular segment. If you notice, when Adams Oshomole came, after finishing his Nigerian Labour Congress presidency, everybody knew that he was the candidate to beat. And then when we had Baseki, especially in the second tenure election, we all saw what happens. So Edo people are politically savvy. Edo State indigenes in the diaspora are also very, very politically. So every one of us is watching and waiting. And very soon, even as the primaries is ticking now, you will see a lot of participation from everyone.
Okay, let's quickly, thank you so much, Dr. Tony. Let's get to Elder Gary now. Elder Gary, do you think those in the diaspora have what it takes to influence the decision of Edo indigenes as far as the election is concerned? Do you think so?
I just wanted to correct something. Like what I was trying to say is, in essence, that I want to talk about what Benjamin have just said. What we, for example, in my group, we I personally was the first person that introduced Obi to Diaspora. Obi was still, he have not even make up his mind to run as a president when he was still in PDP. So I was the one that was calling a lot of my friends from Anambra all over. They were laughing at me that this man is not even talking about president. Why am I bringing him up? So what I'm trying to say here is that the three political parties, like as we already know, they have their own candidates, and those there are a lot of them that are coming out from EDO Central. So for me personally, I know we have a lot of integrity. You know, sometimes we said, oh, all politicians, they are all the same because they have disappointed us so many times. But at the same time, I believe we have a lot of men and women in both parties that for us, as like person like me, I'm a believer. I always believe there is nothing that God cannot do. My prayer to Edo State is, or in Nigeria as a whole, mighty, bless us with good leader, because I understand the problem that the African, especially Nigeria, have is a failure of leadership. So the issue here is, I'm not talking about one political party. I quite understand what you are saying, Benjamin. Like my group, as I earlier said, we said we are not supporting anybody. My group is well known. We initiated Atalakpa, a security organization there. We introduced the True Lock Your Rupee, where I know how much I personally spent on that process through Lock Your Rupee and my group. You know, so during Obaseki too, we know how much, as Doctor have just said, Dr. Tony have said, okay, I know how much my group put on that project through Lock Your Rupee to make sure that we go around and make sure that we secure Obaseki vote in Esalam. So the issue here is we are not talking about one political party, because there are three major political parties. So our idea nominate one person to represent them. Out of these three political parties, that is where I believe they will definitely see what the diaspora are made of. Because this time around, we all believe that every participate. And out of these three political parties, it doesn't matter what PDP or your character with check.
Okay, Dagari.
Integrity, who you are.
Edagari, thank you so much. Edagari, we need to pause you a little. We have to manage our time. Edagari, please, we want to manage our time so that we can make use of the time, the little time we have on the show. Let's get to Benjamin Mayo now. Benjamin, we'd like you to quickly react to this. What challenges do indigenes face when trying to engage in the electoral process overseas? What challenges do you face?
First of all, I want to say the challenges are very much. The challenges are much because we can only talk to most of our family members, most of our brothers who will be opportune to travel home, because the way things are so expensive in Nigeria at the moment, a lot of people will not like to give out 3,000 to 4,000 euro buying tickets just to go to Nigeria and cast a vote for a governor, for the election. So we trying to motivate our homes, our people who we have a little influence over in Nigeria, and that one plays a major role. But you know, the reason why most Nigerians supported Peter Obi, His Excellency, is because he has in his manifesto that is going to be diaspora voting, which is to do through an electronic voting. So if there was an electronic voting where the diaspora will be able to come up and cast their vote, and their voice can also be heard, and their mandate can also be given to whoever they wishes, that will have been great. This is one of the major problems and the major hindrance that is hampering the that is hampering the ideas and the involvement of the diaspora in the electoral process. I also know that at the moment, we have a major role that we have been playing. The role is that support to candidates that we know that are capable. It no longer has to be with party. It no longer has to be any political party name, big or small. But if that candidate is has a prerequisite that will make him a good governor or a good politician, position that is handling, the diaspora have that block power to support that candidate in all ramifications. And social media too has also been playing a very major role. And you can see in the last election, social media is one of the major determinants of a candidate of the election that won. And at the end of the day, we can also let you know that most of the news that are not on the mainstream media, they're always on social media. So the diaspora have access of involving access to the local election at the grassroots level and also contributing through all those means that I've just lined up.
Okay. All right, thanks so much, Benjamin. Let's get to Dr. Tony now. Dr. Tony, can the diaspora effectively influence political decisions in those states, and how?
Dan, yes. Very, very much. To say this not with pride or trying to boast, they always say, look at, like I was saying, the remittances, to Nigeria, 2023, the year is ending in about 10 days' time. $20.5 billion have been remitted from the diaspora to Nigeria. And when you look at statistics available, says that about 17 million Nigerians are in the diaspora. I can't, tell you for free that it is more than that. And when you look at this 17 million, those states should probably be like maybe 50 or 60%, because a lot of our people travel a lot, they go outside our state a lot. So, and then when you now extrapolate, you look at this $5 billion that will be remitted. I can also tell you that probably up to 10 to 12 billion dollars of this amount could probably have been remitted to our state. And if you look at those state budget, for this year that is ending, it's about 321.3 billion naira. The governor just submitted a budget for next year with about 325.3 billion naira. So if you, denominate this in naira, you see that the diaspora is really contributing a lot. So, like Benjamin said, my brother Benjamin said, diaspora is a powerful block. So a lot of money goes on. People send money from the diaspora home, to support their families, for education, for healthcare and all that. So you have that big voice. You play a role in the family decision making and all that because of the support that come in. Not just because of the money, but because of the experience. They always say that traveling is part of education. Because when you leave your area, your place of birth, and you go to some other place, you gather some other skills and experience. So the diaspora is very, very important. And one thing that the diaspora, and I know that we are going to do this time around, even as we throw our weight behind any particular candidate, irrespective of the political party this time around, the diaspora, we are also going to demand, our own, what is in it. Especially, I was talking about the diaspora agency that never came to be during this Godwin Obaseki administration. So the diaspora is a very, very, any aspirant that discounts the diaspora is going to do so at his own peril.
So are we going to see a kind of unifying force now from Edo Indigenes in the diaspora as far as the election is concerned? Let's get to Edagari, then Benjamin will be wrapping it up because we need to get to Abuja in a moment. Edagari, are we going to see a kind of a unified force from all Indigenes of Edo State in the diaspora ahead of this election?
I think that is the area I actually also want to talk about, because it's very important that we choose the right person, and also it's also someone that any of the political party present to us, and because everybody have his own interest. Like my interests are just make known. For example, I just said that I will be very happy and I will be proud to be a Edo citizen when I find out the three political party actually choose somebody from Edo Central, because we have a lot of integrity people who are coming out from Edo Central. I believe they meet that criteria in both parties, both political parties. I think there will be someone in that zone that will meet that criteria that we, the diaspora, are asking for, because we know what we need.
Okay.
And I think that's all.
Okay, Benjamin, quickly, do you align with his thoughts? Do you align with his thoughts, Mr. Benjamin, quickly?
I'm aligned with his thought based on...
Edagari, we're sorry, let's take Mr. Benjamin's reaction, as we are really out of time. Benjamin, please.
Okay, thank you.
Like what Edagari said, I align with him partially. Fairness, equity, and justice is one of the most important things that we need in Edo State right now. It's important. That will be able to unify the Edo people together and angle where he's coming from and the group that he has formed, the ASA agenda. As somebody who is well versed in politics, I wouldn't want to use that word, ASA agenda. I think there are better ways to sell it to our brothers who are from the Edo North and the Edo South, to preach fairness and equity and justice to them.
Okay.
If you actually look at it, Edo Central sort of capable human beings when it comes to politics that will come out and lead Edo State to a future that will accommodate everybody and other people and investors too. Okay. So that is for that.
All right.
I'm earnestly looking forward that the diasporans, especially the diaspora living in most of the European countries and Americans, gather to speak with one voice this time.
Okay, thank you.
To look at their party. And like I said, those parties that we know, those three major political parties, they don't even have a good reputation that we have to be looking at party, because one way or the other they have failed Nigerians.
Okay. So all right, Mr. Benjamin. So sorry, we need to pause you now. We need to pause. Let's quickly take a reaction from Dr. Tony, and that will link us to Abuja Network Studio. Quickly, Dr. Tony, what has is there any way technology can influence your involvement in the election for Nigerians in diaspora, as it were?
Absolutely. For instance, if you look at this program now, we are doing it virtually. The coming of the GSM, global system for mobile telecommunications, there's a lot of communication going on. Those days, people in diaspora, you can't contact your family. They will play cassette and all that, CDs. We all remember those days. So, but now, with the snap of the finger, you can communicate anybody, do money transfer, do anything. It's just that diaspora voting hasn't started yet, but we hope that will come. So technology will really help, because it's a tool for campaign. Social media, like Ben said earlier, mainstream media will not take, social media will take it. So technology is going to play a huge role, and everybody is using technology.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Tony, for finding time to join us, and Gary, for sparing time to be on the show, and of course, Benjamin Mayor, for also joining us. We appreciate you, gentlemen.